Thanks for staying with us. Join us on the show is the founder, I Create Club, Eniola Afolayan. She's an unconventional children's club, which as of this year's runs across about 100 primary schools. Welcome with us, Mr. Afolayan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Tell us what this I Create Club is about.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
So the club was founded in the year 2015 as a response to what I'll describe as a steep learning culture across several education systems within Nigeria. So we started out with 20 primary schools, and over the years we have grown, we have expanded, and we are currently within 100 primary schools, both private and public. Talking about what inspired the club, I'll have to actually say it was divinely orchestrated, because growing up, I never really saw myself doing what I'm currently doing. Even as a young graduate, I never really thought that I would walk down this path. But let's just say that one thing led to another, and, you know, as I said, the rest is history. But now, this is a very long history, so I cannot go into all the details, but I'll summarize what's relevant to our conversation today. So several years back, I was a double degree holder, BSc Electrical Engineering from the University of Lagos, MSc Management Information Systems from the University of Manchester. But now, despite all this, I struggled to get a job. I couldn't land my dream job. So I settled in for a career in advertising. Now, okay, advertising was not my first choice, but looking back now, I will not change anything about that time, because there I gathered a lot of experiences that I used to run my business today. And aside from that, I also got reconnected with a long-forgotten passion I had for creativity, creative writing specifically. So for me, those were positives. Now, there were also negatives in the sense that the company where I was working was in the process of going under. I never knew that until I was within the system. So obviously, frustration set in. But let me give credit again to God. Thank God the frustration did not get the better of me. I think eventually I was able to see it as an opportunity to, to begin to see how I could progress from being a disgruntled employee to becoming a business owner. And I believe it was at that point that the idea of the Create Club was conceived, and somehow we moved on to the process of birthing the club. Now, we are not your conventional club. Regular clubs are talking about specific skill sets. So when we talk about like homemakers club, we know that kids are there to learn how to, things along cookery, needlework, and the likes. But for us, our scope is a lot broader. We focus on the mindsets of the children, and really, our vision is to nurture the creativity of the children. Because I believe that every child, irrespective of who the child is, where the child was born, whatever part of the world you happen to come from, there's a measure of creativity in the children. And it's up to us to nurture that creativity. And why is that important? We live in a dog-eat-dog world right now. Very few opportunities, very stiff competition. So who is going to get those few competitions? And what's going to stand out anybody at all is the person's ability to exhibit creativity. I've acquired knowledge. How can I creatively express that knowledge? That's what's going to stand you out from your peers. And, gone are the days when, in the past, children go to school and, parents tell them that, just come out with a first-class degree. You're sure of getting a good job in a multinational. Or, okay, I'm going to get you to go to UK, US, and when you come back, you're sure of getting a degree. But from my own story, you see that even all those fancy certificates, they are no longer the gold they used to be. It's a lot more common now, and now everyone has to really fight for the few available spots. We also should not forget that we have a lot of children who are not exposed to the level of education that many kids are, but yet, because of the internet, global village, they get access to information. So the child that is in school is not necessarily better than the child that is not in school. It's just the child's ability and willingness to learn. So competition is really stiff.
So let me ask you because of time.
Okay.
You're really passionate about this. I can see how you're going on. And if we leave you, will just give us 30 minutes, blast boost. So what exactly are the activities that happens in the club?
Okay, so we're now getting there. So I was going to get there. So it's all about nurturing the creativity. So now what we are saying is that if you're able to be creative with the seemingly simple things around you, when you get stuck with the big things, when you get faced with the big things, you'll be able to step in. So now we expose them to all kinds of activities. And now what we tell the kids is that, see, it doesn't matter whether you want to be a doctor or an engineer or a fine artist. Once you grab these activities, you'll be able to function in whatever field you have. So for example, I have these things here. They are called squashy balls. We've given them a task where they had to take these balls. And when we think of balls, we are thinking that, you throw the ball, you roll the ball. But we said turn it into something else. And we were amazed at what the kids came up with this. And we have something else we call the pillow art competition. Basically, what they have is this, a plain white pillow, and they are supposed to turn it into art. Now, we give them a theme. So last year's theme was ocean. And we said, come up with something, interpret ocean. So, you know, for many of us, we think ocean in terms of, you know, water, sharks, in boats, beach, and things like that. But we actually have a prize for concept, apart from the person who is artistically skilled. So the person who won actually came up with the interpretation of stop pollution. So his art was really about the environment, don't pollute the ocean. And that was the direction in which the child thought. Then there's another one we have, we call it the business plan. Now, I know there are a lot of people that say they are children entrepreneurs, but let's face it, it's not because, oh, I like cooking, I go to start a food business. You have to be solving a problem. Yeah. So what we tell the kids now, okay, look within your immediate environment, what problem can you identify and come up with a solution? So the girl who won last year, she said that her first visit to the salon was actually an anticlimax. She went there with her mom and her sister. Everything was adult-sized. And she was expecting something a bit more. And she came up with an idea that why didn't I not start a children's salon? And now, okay, we said that, okay, there are people already doing that. But she said there's nothing like that within my area. And she now began to come up with ways in which she was going to differentiate hers from what already existed. So basically what we are doing is getting these kids to think outside the box because it's actually very, very...
Solve problems within their locality.
Yeah, solve problems, yes.
What's the vision? What's the end vision for the club?
So, okay, where we are going to with this is the fact that right now we live in an era where, as people say, there's a mass exodus in Nigeria. Everybody is leaving, but I'm a strong believer in us staying here to fix the problem. And I believe that we are doing it by playing a little bit here. We are preparing these kids. Let's face it, I have no power over the past. What has been has been. What's happening right now, I have very limited control, but really the future is still unwritten. And it's in the hands of these children. And if we can keep on investing in them through this means, to be honest, there's no telling just how far they can go. So currently, as I said, we started with 20 schools. We are now in 100. And, you know, our vision is to actually get into every school in Nigeria and keep on touching and changing the lives of these children.
One of my major concerns, and because I do some work for education, the kids get so, everybody has an idea. Every single Nigerian who is in education has a bit of something idea. So we are saying the same thing in different ways. So BC comes our own idea, YK comes our own idea, and they're all bringing it to different schools. I want to get to school. And I think, and the kids are getting so bombarded. There's so many solutions, this one, this club, this one. How do we sift through all that and say, okay, I create is what we need, what we really need? Because I know that so many schools have different initiatives. They're doing some creativity, out of the box. They're out, and the kids are getting, I get really frustrated when they're constantly telling me there's so many options for kids. Like, so can we for someone find a way to bring everything together and say, okay, this is all, I'm trying to find a way to write the question, but how do we pick I Create? What makes I Create different from all the other?
Okay, so like, you know, other clubs are running week in, week out. We only see the kids once a term. And now we're not competing with the other club because I mentioned other clubs, whether we like it or not, it's either they are trying to teach the children how to dance, how to cook, how to do a specific thing. But we are just telling the children that, see, fine, whatever your vision is, whatever you want to be, it's fine. But we are working on their minds. We are saying get creative. So there are all kinds of, we deal with everything, but we are saying that just be creative no matter what your field is. So we are not there competing with what already exists. And that's why schools are able to absorb us, because they already have their own club, but they still take us on. Because what we are doing is working with the mindsets of the children.
Okay. So how is, you know, Vitafoam has been the major sponsor for this. How is that collaboration going?
So now it's amazing what, you know, using the word sponsorship with Vitafoam seems somewhat like an understatement, because when I Create Club was simply still an idea on paper, Vitafoam caught on to the vision, and they've been supporting us. Okay, at the end of the school year, we have this fancy inter-school competition where everybody comes together, the parents, the schools, there's the media and all of that. It will be very easy for Vitafoam to say, you know what, I Create, when it's time for your competition, we will step in. But Vitafoam is not just interested in the end result, they are part of the process. So we move from school to school, we tour the schools. So from day one to the very last day of the school year, Vitafoam is there supporting us. And for me, it's commendable because this is an era where entertainment actually is taking a bulk of the investment. and for Vitafoam to actually understand the importance of education. And as I said, their investment is not skeletal. It's actually in-depth. From day one to the very last day, they are supporting us. So that's where they come in. And, you know, it's amazing that they catch on to the vision.
Thank you very much. So it was good to have you on the
Thank
show to
you.
discuss iCreate. Any other information you have? You have about a minute left.
Now, I guess maybe how I would just land it is that, as you mentioned, we can't do this without support. And support, you know, it's not only in finances. For example, we have Kids Literary Circle. Last year, they actually toured all the different schools with us without collecting anything. And what they were doing was just giving back. So what I'm saying is that Vitafoam has proven to be a pace setter. And I think other people, even individuals, can actually look for how do you partner with things. Because I mentioned, I'm very passionate about Nigeria. I'm passionate about things happening. And the only way we can actually do this is through the children. So I'm just hoping that, just as, you know, the stage has been set, let's keep at it so that we actually, you know, have a future that we can actually look forward to.
Right. Thank you very much, Mana. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.